just one thing before we do what I'm going to do today is just go through using assembly without using a multi-body part, how to do it fairly simply. And then the other one is just the lip and groove to go through that again. I'm hoping that those are things that would help you just to go over again. Right, so before we do that, just remember last week I had shown you that you could use different configurations, okay? So those were some of my configurations. Now, if you go into the feature tree in the feature manager tree, you'll see that all your features, if you make them present, you have a lot of features available to you. So what you can do is, if you've got something which has a lot of features in it, let me just get this one here. Okay, so here you'll see, maybe not. So there's 3 of them. So in this set of configurations, this boss extrude I'm going to use commonly. So I want it to always appear. But if I want these to be grouped, I can just click on them by holding the control button down, right click, and then say add to new folder, right? And then give that folder a name, indents. Okay, and then it will have put them all inside that folder. So it becomes much easier to control what you're doing. So let's do that again. I think this one I might have done already. So I've double clicked on the configuration, and you'll see I've actually put them into a folder already. So there it is there. So if I delete that folder, okay, so this is what you'd have. You'd have all of those features highlighted, and you can now, the ones in between which have been added to other features, you can just skip over. Should be able to hold shift and then control. So select all the features you want, right click, say add to new folder. Oh, I'm selecting a folder. Sorry, this one shouldn't be in here. Oh dear. Okay, so it's actually taken a folder that I selected inadvertently and put it in there, but that's okay. So if there's something you don't want in a folder, you just drag it out. Drag it out into, you should be able to. No. Oh, okay. All right, so it looks like I might have to Control Z there. Z. Okay, so there I'd selected this. Just be careful you don't do what I did. Select a folder that you don't want added. Add to new folder. I'm going to call this what waveform. Right, so hopefully that helps. Then you've got, a much cleaner tree. If you want to find what's in a folder, you just click on the folder, you'll see what's in it. Okay, all right, so let's see if I've got anything else open. I haven't got anything else open. I'm going to open an assembly file. Right, so if you have a look, when you get the begin assembly thing, you can do something called a create layout. I'm not going to show it to you today because it involves using 3D sketches and making sure they're 2D sketches and then using blocks. So it's a little bit complex, but it gives you, with complexity as usual, you get some flexibility. So I'm going to use something similar. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to say OK. And you'll see, so there's nothing in my assembly file whatsoever. I'm going to create a sketch on my top plane in this case, which is going to become part of the assembly. So, and this sketch is going to be common to both of my my halves of my feature. So I'm going to make this for construction, give this a little bit of shape. Okay, and then I just want to mirror these over. I'm not sure why this is not going black. I'll have to leave it for now. And let's do one more. All right, so I'm just copying the same shape that I had last week. Okay, so something's not right with the sketch. For the sake of speed, let's leave it alone. So this sketch is in my assembly file. This is similar to the layout feature in that there'll be something which is common, which you can borrow from the assembly, and then you can use it to create a feature. So I'm going to say insert components, or under insert components, I'm going to say new part. It'll say first you need to save it. So I'm going to save it as an existing assembly, just to save time. Okay, and then it's going to ask, do I want a new part? You say yes. Okay, new part. All right, and then I'm going to select, I'll select, no, let's create a new one. Okay, so, and then you just click on the OK button. Where do you say OK? I think you have to select a plane. Right, so just select the plane. Okay, so there you can see it's given me a new part, which has got an in-place notification. I've got a sketch I can start from. So it's already in the sketch environment. You can see here the exit sketches. So I'm just going to go normal 2. And so the sketch that you see in here is the sketch that I created as part of the assembly. So if I select those 4 lines and I convert the entities, I now have a sketch which is linked to this outside sketch. Okay, so I'm going to use, here you have to be a little bit careful. I'm going to use that sketch. See, if I click on this, you'll see that it's actually selected the sketch that's inside the assembly instead of this sketch here. So 2 things I can do. One is I can hide this sketch now. All right, so that's one way that I'm sure to select the sketch inside the part. Or if I don't hide it, I can just select the sketch inside the part, so it's not inside the assembly, and then should be able to goodness gracious, there we go. All right, so I'm going to give that a height of 8 millimeters. I'm going to give it a 1 degree taper. Okay, let's exit that. I'm going to remove this in place, what would you call it, connection, and you'll see that if I now update this, I think this, yes, you can see it's moving around. So here's where one of the things that one of my favorite tricks is just to line up the construction plane. So control, hold down the 2 planes, and you can see that they're not exact, they're not lined up. I'm going to make them. Okay, and that means I have to go into this object. I can either edit it or I can go into it. So I'm just going to open that part, and I'm going to go to that sketch, and I'm going to say edit sketch plane, and it should be the top plane, because remember I put my sketch in the top plane, so I want it to be in the top plane in this one as well. So let's put it in the top plane. So control save. If I now go back to my assembly, they should be lined up. Am I in the assembly? Yes, I am. Okay, so you can see it's lined it up again. It's not completely lined up. It's lined up in that plane, but it's not lined up with the other 2. So quickly choose right and right and get them to mate. And then I think let's just make sure top and top. And one more, which was what? Front plane and front plane. All right, so now this is it's locked in. It can't do anything. That means that if I go back to the sketch and I double click on it, and I want that to be 90, for instance, and I update, it'll actually update. Oh, it hasn't. Okay, if it doesn't, what I've done here, then you might have to go back to the sketch and just make sure that everything is lined up again. So I think what I did wrong there is I didn't select the top plane to put my sketch on, and that's where everything's gone wrong. So I'm simply going to delete all of this. I'm in the sketch environment. I'm going to select that assembly sketch again. And say convert entities. Let's close this one. Oh, it has done it. Right, so now it's converted it. And now it should be the case that if I double click on the sketch, and let's make that 80. There we go. So it's actually changed the shape of the part using the sketch in the assembly, which is very similar to the layout function in the assembly. It's just the layout function, as I say, is a little bit more complex. So from that, I can now go to a lower part, and I can use the same sketch. So I'm going to go to Insert Components, New Component, say, yes, I want a part. I want it to be the lid. Let's go with lid. Yeah, let's choose that one. Grid number 3, so that they're all okay. So that's going to, I think it hasn't given me yet what I need to choose. I can choose this face, go normal to, and here I need to just make sure that I select that sketch to convert entities. Okay, so I'm still in the parts, and there's that sketch that you can see. So once again, I can either hide the sketch, or I can select the sketch inside the part and then do an extrude to make that 12 and give it a taper of 1 and exit the part. So now these two parts, let's just get a view which is going to the side. So you can see the tapers are in. Those two parts are being driven by this sketch. So I'm repeating myself, but just to make sure that this all works. Let's change this just to make sure it changes both parts at the same time. And there it's done it, so perfect. All right, so just let me find out, have I gone too fast? Is everything making sense? Is that a yes? I'm going to take silence as yes, huh? If there's anything you want me to just repeat, just show me, just tell me. I'm happy to go through it again now. You're okay with this? It's okay, okay. All right, so now you'll see that I've still got these two in places, which I mean, you can keep them if you want. I'm going to delete them. Okay, so that will probably mean that both of these, no, just the bottom one. So the bottom one is now there in place, that's why. Okay, so I might have to go back. It looks like we're going to have to go back to this one here, edit it, because it looks like that sketch is not lined up. So you can see it's blue. It means it hasn't lined up with this outside sketch. So I'm going to delete it and then select that sketch. Okay, now it's nice and black. So now I know they are connected. Right, so that wasn't as smooth as I thought it would be. I think the thing there would be just to make sure you select the right plane. Let's just check this again. Ah, nice. Okay, so it's updating the whole lot. So those things are connected. So from here, I like to make sure that this is also lined up. Instead of lining it up using the mates, I like to do the same thing again, top and top. Oh, yes, of course. Right, so I'm not going to do it because that's going to complicate matters. That's because this, once again, because the boss extrude chose the front plane. So SolidWorks chooses the front plane as the default one. It's something that I often forget. You need to remember it as well. So you could just then do one of your usual. I would try and do. It's not choosing planes. Just hide the sketch. Mate. It won't give it to us. Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone for now, but I think you guys know how to do the mating thing. Right, so from here, then I can just, I can edit these. So I'm going to go and edit this quickly. So edit the part, just give the large fillets first. So let's make those 7 or something. Okay. Give this top face a fillet, I'll say 2 mil. Okay, and then I want to give this, I want to shell this part, so I'm going to hide this for now. Right, so then just say features shell 1.2. Okay, exit. Just save this. All right, so you can very quickly you can build up your whatever it is shape that you're doing. You can do the shelling, all the rest of it, all the main features, and you can do the same then with this bottom one. I'm going to show it and I'm going to edit it. Okay, doesn't like the non-mating. So I think while I'm here, let's just fix this. That sketch. Edit the sketch. No, we don't want to edit the sketch. We want to edit the sketch plane. And that should be, it says front, I want it to be top. Okay, for now I'm not going to worry about what that means. Now I will have to, looks like. Okay, so it's looking for this sketch here, this top one, which is in another plane. So in fact, I've chosen the wrong plane. Let's just make sure that sketch 2 is on the top plane. Yes. Okay, and that top plane. Okay, so I see what I've done here. I haven't lined up these planes, so I'm gonna not worry about. Let's go out of that. I'm not gonna worry about what's going wrong here. It seems like it won't let me do it. So, where are we? Okay. So I'm just going to draw in for now, just to shape, just to make SolidWorks happy. And then I'm just going to line these up again. There we go. Right. Okay, so now everything's lined up. So I'm going to go back into this, edit the parts, go into that sketch, go normal to, delete this other sketch because I don't want it, and now I want this sketch here. There we go, and you can see it's a nice black line. So if I exit that, you can see that my part is now lined up. Okay, so let's quickly put those radii in, fillets, 1, 2, make that a bit bigger, 7. Okay, top face, same thing. Give a radius of 2. Okay, I'll save. Oh, right, no, we need to go back into this one. So I exited there. Let's just edit that part. And say I want to shell it. Right, so at the moment, I can't see what's going on because this one here is in the way. There we go. So I just hit it and let's give it 1.2. That's good. Okay. All right, so I've got those two parts. Just show this one again. And they're being driven by the sketch. Double check that again. 1000, let's make it 600, see what happens. Okay, it has updated the whole thing, great. Right, so now we're going to look at the groove thing. I'll go through the proper way to do it, and then I'll show you possibly an easier way that you might want to do if you don't want to follow this way. So I'm first of all going to hide the sketch. Okay, so we've just got this part. So in order to access the groove and lip command, I have to go into a part. You'll see it's not available in the assembly environment. I don't think, I might be wrong. It might be under things like assembly features. I know that there are certain features in assembly that you can do, like you can punch a hole through 2 parts using the assembly environment, but the groove one is not in it. So I'm going to go into this one here, edit it, and you'll see under features that I have my lip groove item available. So I'm going to try and go through this slowly, and just to remind you how it works. You'll see at the top in the body part selection under your feature tree manager that the first block here is asking for the part that you want to put the groove in. So do you want to put the groove in the lid or in the box? That's something you'll have to decide. Normally you'd put the sort of groove in the top part. So I'm going to select the top, that's the lid. And from here you can go to selecting the bottom half, but best to follow what SolidWorks shows you. So it says groove selection, and it won't show you anything, but the moment you select inside this box, it will hide the part that you don't want. So that's great. There we go. So now it's hidden the box, and I've just got the lid, and I want this top plane to be the starting point of what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into these walls that go all the way around. So from there, go to the next box. Just click this tangent propagation. The next box is going to ask you for which of these 2 lines, the inside or the outside, are the ones that you want to guide your sketch. I want it to be the inside one. That's the sort of the preferred one. You'll see it immediately puts in a visualization of what that groove will look like. So here you can decide how wide you want this to be. So these are figures I put in earlier. This defaults, I think, to 1. And you can see one's not going to leave you much meat. So 0.7. And 3 degrees, let's make that 5 degrees. And then C is the depth. So there you see C is. I want this to be just 1 millimeter. And as I enter those figures, it shows me what I'm going to get. If I'm happy with that, I don't click anywhere. I just go to the next body. So I say select body on which to create the lip. Right. So it's obviously this the box. And here again, you just need to follow the prompt. So You're gonna ignore the groove selection part. If you now start selecting in here, you're gonna get confused. Go to the lip selection. So you can see there, the top one is the groove, the next one is the lip. Got 10 minutes left, so we should be able to do this. So in the lip selection, the moment you select inside this select face thing, it'll hide the body you don't want. There you go. And so it's the mating face that I want, and then go to the tangent propagation, hit the tangent propagation button, and then select the inner line. So make sure it's the same line as you selected for the top part or the lid. And here you can see it's entered some figures in already. So it's got 0.7. B is, do you want a gap between the two from side to side? Yeah, side to side. So yes, I want a gap of 0.1 millimeter so that the thing can actually fit on. It's copied the 5-degree angle, which is great. D is, do you want a gap between where the groove and the lip meet? I don't. I want it to be 0 in this case because I want that to be the landing spot. E is the depth, which is 1 millimeter. So it's echoed what I've done in the top. F is the width at the bottom. You'll see it's put 0.6 in. So it's taken 0.7 and it's minus 0.1 to give 0.6. So if I make this 0.7, you'll see instantly it ups the figure in A to 0.8. My internet connection is unstable. Well, so best just to leave it as what it is, and I'm going to have to go back to this one. There we go. Okay, so it actually calculates a lot of it for you. And then at the bottom here, do I want a gap to show between where these two meet? And I say I do. I want it to be 0.3. And once you're happy with everything, you say okay. All right, it'll give you this warning message. That's because I'll show you again why that is, because one of them needs to have a taper in it. Say okay, and let's exit that part so that we see the assembly. Go to the section view, and you'll see it's put that in. So there's my between there and that one here is the 0.1 gap. So I measure that. That is, there we go, delta X is 0.1. Okay, and the gap between these two parts here, between there, oops. And there, that should be 0.3. Delta Y is 0.3. Okay. So, all right. So the reason for that little error message, let's open this part. I'm going to open it individually. The reason for that is that if I take a section through here again, you'll see that there's a line there indicating that there's a change of direction between this face and that face. So this face here is at 1 degree, that face there is at 90 degrees. So that this would have problems getting out of the mold. What you need to do then is to put in a taper. So let's go into here. I'm going to select that face as the start of my taper. Go to draft or the draft. Okay, so be careful not to select the base face, this one at the bottom, because you really want the taper to start from on high here. And then you're going to say faces to draft, and it's select any one of these faces, and you'll see it only selects one of the faces. So go under this button which says face propagation, say I think it's a long tangent, all faces. No, it's not all faces. In the faces, no, that's not correct. Let's try. Okay, see, so that's an error. So sorry, I need to have brushed up on this. So you might have to actually select these. You should be able to right-click, select one of them, and say select tangency. There we go. That's what you need. So just make sure you've got all the interfaces give it a 1 degree taper, and you'll see now that that line becomes a dashed line, indicating that these faces are collinear. So if I go through to this, you can see they're not changing, it's one straight line. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? I mean, this last little bit, I'm not going to worry about if you don't get it right. That's a technical detail that if you get to do things for ejection molding, you would have to watch out for. But at this level, I'm not worried about it. Just see how much time we have left. 13:45, and the time right now is 13:35. So we've got 10 minutes left. Let's see if I can cover the next bit as quickly as possible, so that I don't take up too much of your time and you can get on with doing what you need to do. Any questions? Are you happy with what I've done? Yes. Is that a question? Kutso?
No, I think that it makes sense. I'll just have to watch it.
Okay, all right. Gone too fast. Okay, all right. All right, let's see if we can show you a quicker way of doing this. So okay, don't worry about what I'm doing now. I'm just going to suppress. Yeah, so let's just, I'm just going to suppress the lip and groove on both of these and the draft. So let's assume you got to this point here where you'd modeled your basic shape and you got to the shell bit, because you have to have the shell bit before you can put in a lip and a groove. So for now, I'm going to hide this one. In fact, I'm just going to open this part. So here's my part. An easier way to do this, if you don't like that way because it looks like there's too many details, is just to use a swept cut and a swept boss. So I'm going to use the swept cut command first in the top because I'm going to cut the groove out. So I'm going to go to the right view or the front view, doesn't matter, either one of them, as long as it's perpendicular to this piece. This looks like my taper is going the wrong way. Okay, so we'll need to just check that first. No, it was correct. Let's see if I can control Z. Okay, so it was correct. There's something that just looked wrong. All right, so you do have to have a lip tip for this to start on. So let's go back to the front plane, put in a sketch, and here, just to be able to make this easier to see, I'm going to click on one of these, the wireframe. That's because I want the sketch to start from one of these two parts here. So I'm just going to draw a sketch, something like this. Okay, so here I'm going to deliberately make the sketch go bigger than I need it to be, because if I don't make this bigger, it won't cut this out nicely. So here I simply want to put in some dimensions. So I'm going to go from that point to there, would be 0.3, or we could go from that point to there and make that 0.7 or 0.9. Wait, let's do that. So I'm going to try and echo what I did in the other one. So it's 0.7, and I want to make the depth 1 mil, and I want to make this taper 5 degrees, which would make 85 would be right. Is that right? 85. we'll leave it at that. And then all I'm going to do here is just to make sure that this thing doesn't mess with me later on, is just give it a dimension, something like that, and you can do the same. Oh. Okay, so that's finished.